There are legal analysts on TV, including my beloved Fox, including a former friend of mine who's a former federal prosecutor who is not an expert on impeachment. He wrote a book on impeachment about Obama, and he feels he's an expert, but he's not an expert. I have spent, what is it now, almost 40 years studying every corner of the Constitution of the United States. As president of the Landmark Legal Foundation and now chairman of Landmark, we have filed many, many briefs with the United States Supreme Court. People who've never had any dealings with the Supreme Court, who've never filed anything with the Supreme Court, who kind of do these hit and runs on the Constitution. They're all over TV as experts. They are not experts, despite how they position themselves in their own narratives. And I just saw this morning on television, one of them said, absolutely, you can try a president once they're a private citizen. And absolutely, even if the Chief Justice of the United States chooses not to, in effect, oversee the impeachment trial, it can still go forward. These are two important points that I want to address with you. I did it on radio the other day, but I want to expand on it. There is nothing in the historical record, not a syllable, where the framers support the pursuit of a private citizen under the impeachment clause, period. The entire debate, which went on off and on for about 3.5 months, of the 5.5 months in Philadelphia, I've studied it very, very carefully. It never came up. What they were concerned about was a president in office, and if that president in office was a problem in the sense of high crimes and misdemeanors, then you could have an impeachment process in the House, a trial process in the Senate, a very high bar of 2/3 vote to convict. Then they are removed from office. And upon removal, they can also decide whether to bar the individual for life from holding high office. So there's nowhere in the Constitution where it says impeach, try, and then bar somebody from office. There's a process that takes place. So far, the process has been violated. There was no investigation, there was no hearing, there was no due process, there were no witnesses, there were no counter witnesses, there were no hearings, there was nothing in the House of Representatives. A 2-hour debate, 1 hour for the Democrats, 1 hour for the Republicans. They put out a 76-page report, the majority on the House Judiciary Committee. There was no minority report because they never saw the majority report. Out of the 76 pages, 50 of those pages actually are written, and the rest of them are an appendix. I went through those 50 pages very carefully when they were released. It is nonsense. There's no evidence of any kind. Forget about the criminal standard. There's no evidence of any kind that the President of the United States incited an insurrection. I said the other day, if a commander-in-chief of this country, the President of the United States, wanted to unleash an insurrection, do you think he'd pick 100 or 200 guys from all over the country, some of them with backpacks and so forth, to charge the Capitol building? Is that an insurrection? No, there'd be tanks surrounding the Capitol building, wouldn't there? There'd be jets flying over the Capitol building, wouldn't there? It's so ridiculous. Members of the House and members of the Senate, even members of the media, have said things that have really been far worse than anything the president said and could easily incite violence. They take no responsibility for anything they say or write, not at CNN or MSNBC, not at the New York Times or the Washington Post. Maybe they've incited people. Maybe Maxine Waters and Pelosi calling law enforcement stormtroopers. Maybe they've incited people. Maybe over at the Joe Scarborough show, where he has guests calling us neo-Nazis and so forth. Maybe they incited people. But they have no circumspection, no self-reflection, and no policing going on in these networks and these newsrooms, not to mention Congress. So it's really quite preposterous. So they put this out. We've never seen anything like this in American history. Then they hold it back until the Senate Democrats and Biden are prepared to receive in the Senate, where it's 50-50, as you know, with Kamala Harris, the VP, as the tiebreaker on any vote. But this requires 2/3 vote. Now the issue is, okay, having destroyed the impeachment process in the House, so now anybody can basically be impeached for anything within hours. without any process for the American people to watch or contact the representatives. Just a slapdash process that Joseph Stalin would be very proud of. Now the question is, would the former president of the United States out of office, they're going to pursue him as a private citizen under the impeachment clause? Tell me, experts, where anywhere in our history is that stated as an affirmative act that Congress should take? It's preposterous. In fascistic regimes, in Marxist regimes, they track down the former heads of state when they disagree with them to the ends of the earth to punish them. They have trials for them or worse. And that is the only example I can think of. It's not a constitutional example at all. So there's no justification, plus the seriatim process that I talked about, removal and then a decision about prevention from ever serving in office again. So this is really a disgrace.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.